Hey everybody, I got a weird one for you today. Wim Wenders is a filmmaker going back into the 70s. I have very little knowledge of his films, but his name has always stuck out in my mind for completely unrelated reasons. Let's just say it's come up a few times and always stuck in my head, but I've never seen any of his films. Despite loving movies so very much like everybody else, there are genres that are just not my bag. I'm not usually a fan of found footage movies, exorcism movies, mafia-style gangster movies, and while many can be great, serious dramas don't often catch me. I don't often want to watch a movie about a guy struggling to live his life after he accidentally hits a child with his car, killing them, and then trying to live through what must be like the worst period of his life. For me personally, I like escapism from life, because life is what I'm living. But that's not a judgment, it's just my own personal taste. So long, quiet, drawn-out passages of melancholy and self-contemplation in the frozen winters of Canada and regret and sorrow isn't something that I would be excited to put myself through. Now, unfortunately for me, that is the movie that I am covering today, but there's some good news. This is Graphic Adaptations, and so that means that there's also a comic that we get to look at. And while this isn't a movie that I would want to read an adaptation of, this book is actually the real special part of this video and the reason why I'm doing this. And it's not even really an adaptation. Kind of. Sort of. You'll see what I mean. So the movie is called Everything Will Be Fine from 2015. It's about a writer played by James Franco who hits a kid with his car accidentally, tragically. And then as he copes with this, he's struggling with his relationship with Rachel McAdams and living in a sort of fog of sorrow and despair. The movie has a long wordless passages and whispered sad lines of dialogue. It takes place in a frozen Quebec, and the landscape becomes a character in the film as well as the seasons changing and the years going on. The film's also an experimentation in 3D for a dramatic film, but on the DVD release, there's no 3D options, so I can't really comment on how that turned out exactly. I know that Wim was very specific about seeing 3D used in a dramatic film rather than just the spectacle of visual action movies and superhero movies that we generally associate with a 3D special effect. So I think we've established that this is not my kind of movie. So let's talk about the graphic novel now. The title is Storyboarding for Wim Wenders, and it's been realized on the page and then into this book by the actual storyboard artist of the movie, Stéphane Lemardelais. I hope I'm saying that right. The book tells the story of getting the job, meeting Wim, and helping him put the shots together for the scenes to bring the script to life. And in the process, they become friends, and their conversations about life become part of this new narrative. The story plays out as though we're a fly on the wall at times, getting to listen in on a conversation between Wim and Stéphane as they adjust the shots for the storyboards, letting us see a window into the creative process. At some point, Stéphane approaches Wim with the idea of his making a graphic novel out of this experience, which has got a meta quality to it that's pretty awesome. Wim sharing stories from his life, how he fell in love with film and his connection to paintings. We get lost in his film inspirations as they discuss other films, Yasujiro Ozo to Truffaut's Fahrenheit 451. We get stories and insights into Wim's other film productions and a glimpse into his philosophy on making art. This is like the greatest joy the book brings, at least from my experience reading it. His thoughts on 3D filmmaking, the essence of capturing images, whether on a digital medium or in traditional film. There are little anecdotes about his past films, the difference for him between documentary filmmaking and traditional fictional dramas, and it's all fascinating to read. You really stay engrossed in the book. Now, while Stéphane's story works to capture the personality of Wenders, in doing so, he also has illustrated a good sense of his own personality. The thoughtful conversations they have they're really natural and enjoyable to read. And as I said before, it's as if we're in the room listening in. He's also created a beautiful and serene Canadian landscape for this production, which feels very authentic and real. We get this truly behind-the-scenes look at this production in watercolor, I believe, and it's charming the way it matches the palette of the actual movie itself, and then including not only actual storyboards, but various stages of the creative process on the way to finished storyboards, and then inevitably, this very graphic novel. I really loved this book. I liked it far more than the movie. I was really not expecting to so much, but I did like the film also more than I thought I would by the end, but it remains like a vibe and a mood that I just don't often subject myself to. So while I don't have that much to say about the film itself regarding the story and themes, etc., I very much enjoyed seeing parts of the process of how the scenes were conceived and then realized. The book is something really special in my opinion. Just a little treasure out there that nobody's going to talk about. Except that we just did. We just put a little spotlight on it, a little shine, a little love. And if you love love, then you should feel free to share a little love and click the like and the follow button. I'll get the message. We'll see you guys next week.